Okay, P3. Linear equations and inequalities.
Oh, let's go. You got it. Just turn.
All right, these ones give you, it says find which values of x are solutions of the equation. So they give you an equation and they give you A, B, C, just A, B, and C that are answer options, and you need to plug in and see which ones work. Sometimes more than one may work, so you need to check them all. So number 2, x over 2 plus 1 over 6 equals x over 3. The answer options, A, are x equals -1. B, if I can write, x equals 0. C, x equals 1. So all we're doing is basically, or all we have to do is plug in those numbers and see if they work. If you want to solve it a different way, you can solve it a different way, but I would just plug them in. So plug in -1 first. So -1 over 2 plus 1 over 6 equals -1 over 3. What do I need to do?
Common denominator.
Yeah.
I can do a common denominator, or I can make my life easier and multiply the entire equation by the common denominator. So what is my common denominator out of those numbers? 6. So I'm going to multiply the entire thing by 6, and that way I don't have fractions anymore. So 6 times -1/2 is -3. 6 times 1/6 is 1. And 6 times -1/3 is -2. And then I get -2 equals -2. So that tells me that that option works. Now visually, if I plug in 0, what happens?
Doesn't work.
It doesn't.
Right, because
Anything multiplied by 0 is 0. That's undefined.
well, 0 would be on top. So what happens when you just have 0 divided by any number?
It's 0.
It's 0. So that means that all I would be left with is 1/6 on the left. So obviously that one doesn't work. And then x equals 1. I can plug that one in. So 1 over 2 plus 1 over 6 equals 1 over 3. And you can probably safely visualize that that's not going to work, but if we need to see it, I can multiply everything by 6. 3 plus 1 equals 2. Obviously, that's not true, so that option doesn't work either. Okay, number 4 is the same type of problem, but we're going to work this one a different way this time. So we have x minus 2 in parentheses raised to the 1/3 is equal to 2. Our options are x equals -6, x equals 8, and x equals 10. So I'm going to solve this one a different way rather than just plugging numbers in. So what does something being raised to the power of 1/3 do? Like, what does that mean to do?
Like the radical with the I don't know what it's called.
A cube root.
Yeah.
So I would be taking the cube root of that. So if I want to undo that, how do I undo that?
Cube root. Cube root.
Yep, cube both sides. So that would mean that I'm left with x minus 2 is equal to 2 cubed is 8. So then add the 2 over, x equals 10. And that's the only solution, because when I solve it out, that's the only solution I get. So we could have done the first one by using this method of let's just solve it out till we find what x is equal to. This one we could have plugged in all the numbers until we saw if it worked. So either method is fine, whichever you prefer. The next one say to determine whether the equation is linear in x. Okay, what does linear mean? Okay, a line. Graph's a line. So, number 6, they say 5 is equal to 10 over 2. Is this linear in x? Does this graph a line?
Yes.
Where's the x?
No.
There's not one, right? So this is not linear. What if I had this one? X minus 3 equals x squared.
Yes.
What does this graph? Let's back it up. What is the equation of a line?
Y equals mx plus b.
Okay, y equals mx plus b. What's another way I can write it? That's slope-intercept form. What's point-slope form?
M is y1 over y2. Or something like that.
Yeah, that's a slope.
How about y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1? Okay, or standard form, ax plus by equals c. If it doesn't look like that in one of those forms, or some variation of that, it's not a line. This one has a squared term, which means it is, as Tristan was trying to say, he said it's one of these things. It's a parabola. So is that a line? No. So it is not linear. Now, is this a line?
Yes.
Can you put that on the over there
It's a
like by
line
the
that's
microwave, like
completely horizontal.
slide, because that's where they're gonna turn in their homework.
Oh, okay.
You can just leave it right there. I'm just gonna make sure it doesn't like collapse on like the first day and then.
Fair enough.
Anyways, do what?
It's a line that's completely horizontal.
Vertical.
Oh, yeah, vertical.
I always say the wrong thing. That's why I have to think about it. The only reason I remember horizontal is because somebody one time says you lay down horizontally. It's the only reason. I'm like, well, you're not standing up. It's like, yeah, anyways. So, yes. So, that is a line, right? So, that's how these are going to look if the problem comes out to be that it is linear. Okay, these aren't going to be necessarily y equals mx plus b. There could be, but they could just be a line like this. Okay. Oh, thank you. Solve the equation without using a calculator. So 4 minus 2x equals 3x minus 6. How do I solve this?
Oh,
x on
2,
one side.
and that was add 6. Yeah, that doesn't add 6 to where 4, the side 4 is, and then add 2 to the side where 2x or 3x is.
Like that?
Yes.
Okay.
And then divide by 5.
Yep.
X
So
equals 2.
2 equals x equals 2. I don't care which direction you do it. Nice and easy. We're okay on solving equations, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, jumping a little bit. Find which values are solutions of the inequality. So this, again, could be a problem that has multiple solutions to it. This is going to be kind of like 1 through 4 was, but it's with inequalities instead. So 32, we're given the inequality 3x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 5. And we have A is x equals 0, B x equals 3, and C x equals 4. And so we want to see of those options which one of these makes it a true statement. So we can go through and solve it out and like solve for x, get x by itself. That's probably the easiest way. And then just anything that fits that criteria, we use it instead of just plugging them in, but it really doesn't matter. But let's do it that way. So get x by itself. What am I doing?
Add 4.
Add 4. So 3x is greater than or equal to 9. Then what?
3.
So x is greater than or equal to 3. So, which answer options work?
4.
B and
And,
C.
or, yeah.
Yep, B and C both work. Let's see. How about one like this one? 34. Negative 3 is less than or equal to 1 minus 2x is less than or equal to 3. And the options are x equals negative 1, x equals 0, and x equals 2. So, how do I solve an inequality like this?
Break it up.
I don't need to.
Oh, we can just add, we can subtract 1 from both sides.
Yep. And more specifically, I need to subtract 1 from all 3 areas. Sometimes when you just say from both sides, people think like, oh, just from the middle, and then you get to choose where it goes, but we have to do it for both. So I'm subtracting 1 from negative 3 and from 3. So that gives me negative 4 is less than or equal to negative 2x is less than or equal to 2. And now what?
Divide by negative 2, but change the sign since you're dividing by negative 1.
Yep, it's going to flip the inequalities because I divide by a negative. So that's going to give me a positive 2. It's greater than or equal to x, greater than or equal to negative 1. So, that being said, what answer options fit this criteria?
A and C.
All 3, right? Because it's great, or, well, I'm going to say, it's or equal to, so all of the options work. So, negative 1, 0, and 2 all are within that criteria. Solve the inequality and draw a number line graph of the solution set. So 38, 3x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 6x plus 8. So I'm going to subtract the 6x over here and add the 1. So negative 3x is greater than or equal to 9. Divide by the negative, which means I flip that inequality. So x is less than or equal to negative 3. So now when I do my number line, Want to make sure that I put at least a couple little markings on here so that I know, you know, what's going on. So it's labeled. So which direction is this going? Or like, how do I like put it on the line?
A bracket.
Going which direction? Left or right?
Left.
Okay, a bracket at -3 going left. It'll just be like that. Let's see, 40. -1 is less than or equal to 3x minus 2 is less than 7. So I'm adding 2 over here and over here. So that gives me 1 less than or equal to 3x less than 9. And then what?
1/3 less x is greater than or equal to 1/3 less than 3.
Yep. So when I graph this, what is my graph going to look like for this?
I mean, you could break it up. Bracket facing right.
Where?
At 1/3. And then parentheses facing left at 3.
Yep. And it's filled in the middle. All right, we have a few solving the inequality problems. So 44, 3x minus 2 over 5 is greater than -1. So I'm going to multiply by that 5. So 3x minus 2 is greater than -5. Add the 2. 3x is greater than -3. So x is greater than -1. $50. We have 3 minus x over 2 plus 5x minus 2 over 3 is less than -1. So what am I dealing with in this problem?
Yeah. You have to combine the two. I mean, you have to combine the addition first and then solve the greater than.
But I can't combine them as they sit.
Yeah, you have to change the denominator.
Yeah, you have to do a common denominator, which is
2 and 3.
Which is what?
Like, multiply the 2 by 3. Multiply the 3 by
Oh. I was thinking you were saying like 23 and I was like, no. So I'm going to make your life easier. We're going to multiply this entire inequality by 6 because then I don't have fractions anymore. And it'll just make life easier. So I'm going to do this. And now when I do this, I have to also do it by what it's equal to, not just the fraction pieces, or this doesn't work. So this is going to end up being 3 times 3 minus x plus 2 times 5x minus 2 is less than negative 6. Are we tracking with what I did? Okay, so I'm going to distribute now. So that's going to give me 9 minus 3x plus 10x minus 4 is less than negative 6. Combine like terms, so that's going to give me 7x plus 5 is less than negative 6. Then I'm going to subtract 5, so 7x is less than negative 11. Divided by, I was about to say divided by x, divided by 7. X is less than negative 11 over 7, and that is the answer. All right, this last one I want you to try on your own. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do it, and then we'll go over it together. 54 is 1/2 times x plus 3 plus 2 times x minus 4 is less than 1/3 times x minus 3. So I want everyone to, or here, I'll leave that one for reference in case you need it. I want everyone to try that one for a minute, and then we'll go over it. Are we close to an answer?
Just reduce.
If you can reduce, you should always reduce. Some of you look like you're really looking at your answer. I'm not saying this one is one that can be reduced. I'm just saying in the event that anytime something can be reduced, you should reduce it. All right, what do we get?
X is less than 178 over 78. I know I did that wrong.
I got x is less than negative 2 over 17.
Anybody agree with them? Have something different?
I think I multiplied wrong.
I don't know if I just did x.
So that's why
Boys in the corner have something different than either of the girls said.
I didn't hear what they said.
Well, what'd you get?
I got x is less than 2 and 7 over 13.
What?
Trying to make that an improper fraction to see if it's what I have.
33 over 13.
Okay.
Is that right?
Anybody else have another answer?
No,
I think I got it.
wrong guy.
No, I got it. I got it first. And I said my answer. Yeah, because I didn't want to hear it. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. So
So
we
let me
got-
stop doing it.
How did I spell this?
I stopped doing it.
So I did the same thing I did in the previous problem. I multiplied the entire thing by 6 to get rid of those fractions.
Multiply both sides. That's what I did. I was going to multiply the parentheses by accident by 6 instead of.
Oh my god.
No, you just have to do the stuff that's in front because it's being multiplied. And then distribute, combine like terms, move stuff around, and you get x is less than 33 over 13.
I made that so hard.
All right, any questions about any of this?
No, I just
did basic math, but I got into the process.
I did the process right. Just the wrong numbers, but I decided to multiply everything by 6. Literally.
Like terms.
Good thing I did it. Then I can. Oh yeah, because the schedule's different. So short.
I stopped doing it.
I can't believe I actually got that right. I thought I got that so wrong. I was like, there's no way I got that right.
That was another half. I thought that was way wrong.
Because I literally, I was like questioning it. So I was like, you know, you can't hurt.
Wait, could you just write out the things? Because I don't know what that means. Every odd.
Every other odd.
Can you just write them out?
I will say them in just a second.
Where are you? Are you there? Where's the unit school?
We can change it.
Oh, wait.
But the other hour is just like,
Count.
Oh,
She's
wait.
gonna say them. Because I can't.
I almost have it. I'm so close.
I don't know what the years are.
Oh.
so I was on my time to school, so I had like a say
It
or
was
a
me.
senior.
Yeah,
I was
it
a
was
little concerned as to why half it's even in the next to it.
I'm not, bro, shut up.
I don't want to because it makes
I didn't mean it like that. You're dirty minds.
All right, 66 is not one that I did like one out of the section for you, but 66 is a multiple choice type question that you could see something like it on the AP exam, which is why I'm giving you one of them. But we did one similar, just not a multiple choice question. So the questions, so the 1 through 19, every other odd, because I'm not sure that 19 actually ends on 1. You do 1, 5, 9, 13, 17. So we're just going to change this to a 17 because 19 is not included. Then the 31 through 43, every other odd, 31, 35, 39, and 43. And then 49, 53, and 66. Tomorrow, the volleyball team will not be here, and thus I will not be here either. So Mr. Law is subbing for me, and this is what you're going to be doing in class tomorrow because there's not a lot of time today because I knew the section was longer. So you have the class period tomorrow to do this.
Oh, we can do the homework during class tomorrow?
Mm-hmm. So you don't need to do this tonight, okay? Tomorrow, if you're done, I will leave a note, and this is going to be up to him if he's okay with it, but I'm pretty sure he will be, but the rule still applies, okay? You can work on your notes for P4 that's due Monday, or finish out the rest of them if you've already done P4 and you want to finish out the rest of them, that's fine. But just know that if he catches you doing something other than that, I am very sure he's going to take it, okay? So just don't push the limits, okay? If it was 20, somewhere around 26. I don't know. It might be the page before that, but
It's for May.
yes.